just throwing that out. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. A worldwide message being proclaimed necessitates a worldwide people that understands these messages and is willing to go out and preach these messages. These messages are to go to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. They are global in extent. Notice Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14. You notice that the first angel's message speaks about preaching the everlasting gospel. And then when you get to the end of the three angels' messages, you have the harvest. In other words, Jesus is seated on a cloud. He has a sickle on his hand. The end has come. The earth has been harvested. In other words, the preaching of the gospel has come to an end. Now I want you to notice what Jesus said in harmony with this. Matthew 24 and verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached where? In all the world, as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. And in Mark chapter 16, the last few verses, it says, and he said to them, Jesus says to the disciples, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Go into all the world and preach what? And preach the gospel to whom? To the Jews? No, preach the gospel to all the world. He who believes and is baptized will be saved, but he who does not believe will be condemned. So what is the purpose of the three angels' messages? The purpose of the three angels' messages is to proclaim the gospel, to gather as many people as possible into God's camp. In other words, to gather as many people as possible onto God's side. That's the purpose of the three angels' messages. They go to every nation because Jesus, through the gospel, wants to conquer the world for himself. But do you know something very interesting that we're going to study later on in Revelation? And that is that the devil also has three counterfeit angels' messages. You say, now how is that? Go with me to Revelation chapter 16. We're just going to briefly introduce this. Revelation chapter 16. And I want to read verse 13 and verse 14. 16, verse 13 and verse 14. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs. Let me ask you, what are unclean spirits? What were the unclean spirits that Jesus cast out when he was on this earth? Demons. And what are demons? Fallen angels. Thank you very much. So notice it says here in Revelation 16 and verse 13, I saw three unclean spirits like frogs coming out of where? The mouth. What do you use your mouth for? To speak, right? And this is not talking about eating because we eat through our mouth too. But it says here that the three unclean spirits come out of the mouth. In other words, it means that these three unclean spirits are proclaiming a what? A message. That's right. Coming out of the mouth of the dragon, we're going to study this, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. What is the purpose of this trilogy, of these three counterfeit angels, of these three evil spirits? Why are they speaking out of their mouths? They have a purpose, and it's to gather the world on the devil's side. Notice verse 14. For they are spirits of demons, performing signs which go out to the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. So how many groups of three messages do we have? We have two groups of three messages. We have God's three messages, which are proclaimed from the mouth with power, the everlasting gospel. The purpose is to gather the whole world on God's side. But the devil also has three counterfeit angels that are called demons, and out of their mouths, out of the mouths of the dragon and the beast and the false prophet, these three angels proclaim their messages, and their messages also have the intention of gathering the whole world on whose side? On the devil's side.